Hello everyone and welcome. This is Dawn. I'm so glad you could join me. Today I'm going to be using the Whimsy Stamps Floral A2 hot foil plate. This floral plate is absolutely beautiful. It has such intricate detail to it, and I'm going to show you how I use the positive and the negative pieces of the foil to make two cards. So let's get started. First, I'm going to heat emboss some flowers from the FaDoodle's flower stamp set. I rub my embossing powder bag onto my cardstock and I stamp the images with black Versamark ink. I pour clear embossing powder over the flowers, and when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the flowers. Then I use my brother's scan and cut to cut them out, but you can easily fussy cut them out. Then I just set them aside for later. Okay, now since this is such a large hot foil plate, I'm going to tape my cardstock onto the hot foil plate using a piece of painter's tape. And then I just wrap the tape around the back of the plate, and then it makes like a hinge on the top of the plate like you see here. It just flips up. Next, I take some silver foil and I put the decorative side down. And I place it on top of my plate and I cut off the excess that I don't need. Then I just fold the cardstock on top of it and I place it on top of my hot foil machine, and I place the plastic shim and the cutting plate on top of it. I press the timer button and I wait about a minute or so for the light to stop blinking, and then I run it through my Spellbinder die cut machine. Now, I'm going to tell you, I don't take much care to make sure my hot foiling comes out perfect. I actually like the distressed look you get from it, where it's not perfect and you see the imperfections from the big plates like this. Because this is a very large plate, and if you want the hot foiling to be perfect, I would heat it twice and run it through my die cut machine twice. This way you can make sure you got a really good transfer. Be careful taking the plate off. This is a heavy plate and it's hot. I just lift up the cardstock and it looks pretty good to me. So I'm just going to very carefully peel off the negative piece of the foil, and you can see how nice it is, so you don't want to waste this. I'm just going to set it aside for now. And this is how the positive piece of the foil came out. It's not perfect, but I love how it came out, and I'm going to cover most of it up anyways. Now for the negative piece, you're going to lay the negative piece onto the Glimmer machine and then place your cardstock over it. Then you have to make a heavy shim. I lay about 3 pieces of 110-pound cardstock on top of it, and then I put my plastic shim and then the cutting plate, and then I hit the timer button and wait about a minute, and then I run it through my die cut machine a few times to make sure that I get a really good impression. This is what it looks like when you take it off the Glimmer machine, and then I very gently peel off the clear top of the foil. I think it came out really nice. Of course, you might have to play with your shim to get the desired look that you want. I'm just going to show you the positive and the negative foiling side by side so you can see what they look like next to each other, and they both have a different look to it, which is really nice. Okay, now I'm going to start to assemble my card. I'm going to use the Scallop circle frames. I was originally going to use the smaller one, but then I ended up using the biggest frame instead. I die cut 3 of them from white cardstock, and then I adhere them all together to add dimension to the card. Next, I trim the positive background down to 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And I'm just going to trim away a little bit from each side of the paper so that the edges are all trimmed up nice. I add foam tape to the back of the background, or you could use craft foam, it doesn't matter. I like to add a little bit of glue to the back of the foam tape so that I can move it around if I have to. And then I'm just going to adhere it onto a piece of A2 size white cardstock. For the sentiment, I'm going to heat emboss "You Are the Best Sister" from the Best stamp set onto the white circle that is the center of the scalloped frame die. I cover my paper with my embossing powder bag. I stamp the sentiment with black VersaFine ink, and I cover it with clear embossing powder. And when my heat tool is good and hot, I heat emboss the sentiment. I adhere the circle into the center of the circle frame, and then I adhere the flowers onto the circle frame. I put 3 flowers at the top and 2 at the bottom. And to finish off the card, I adhere navy gems to the center of all the flowers, and then I put some randomly around the sentiment. And that's going to complete this card. You can see how nice and shiny it is. I just love how it turned out. And now for the negative background, I used the connected heart frame instead, and I used the same flowers and the same sentiment set to make this card. I think they both came out really nice, and there was no waste of foil at all, and you got 2 beautiful cards out of it. So next time, instead of throwing away your negative foil, use it to make another card. And that's going to complete my card for today. I want to thank you for joining me on the Whimsy Stamps YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed my cards. I would love for you to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of them. We would love for you to subscribe to the Whimsy Stamps channel and their other social media platforms so you don't miss out on any upcoming releases and great inspirational videos. Also, check out their websites for all their new releases. As always, thanks for stopping by and have yourself a wonderful day.